Howdy, everyone. Andrew here, and welcome back to another episode of Rattlin On. This will be episode 2. Today, we're going to be going through a couple different things, ranging from political type stuff to the NFL to, pop culture, just stuff that was trending over the past week. Okay, I don't know how else to put it. I don't have a fancy intro yet. All right, but that's what we're going to be talking about. Some of this stuff y'all have seen probably going around on X and stuff like that. So we'll probably do a little bit of quote unquote live read through on X, of just kind of seeing some of the posts that were trending associated with some of these things. But yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, what have you done this week? Is that question hard? Is that something you have difficulty answering? Is that something you don't want to answer? Some people may not want to answer it. Well, it turns out Elon wants you to answer that question if you're a federal employee this past week. There was an initiative, or I don't know what you want to call it, an email was sent out, right, to federal employees this past week asking them, what have you done this week? And federal employees were prompted to respond with like 5 bullet points of something that they accomplished this week. Without, I think it was clarified in the email, do so without like spilling trade secrets. Don't reveal confidential information, but just go ahead and let us know what it was you accomplished. Let us know 5 things you accomplished this week. And dude, it got everybody stirred the F up, right? It got them stirred up. People were like flipping out about this. And, I don't know. To me, I find that a little strange. Now, obviously, there's some organizations within our government where it's like, okay, well, this thing that Secret Agent Bob did, his bullet point, we'll say his bullet point 2. Hell, maybe it's bullet point 1. Hey, that may not be something we want everybody to know that he accomplished, right? That may be confidential. But like I said, I think it said, unless it was confident, without revealing secrets, let us know what you did. But there was still a lot of backlash. So much so that I think that from what I read, they clarified in another email, basically like, okay, there was like the threat, right? Before I get there, let me talk about this. There was like the threat of, if you don't respond to this email, you're fired. You're fired. And okay, that's we're threatening federal workers. I could see how it comes off as a threat, but I believe they clarified and said like, okay, no secrets have to be revealed, and like do so through reply to your director or whoever, and they will then compile all of them and send them over to Elon's team. And it's like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Let me look at my notes here. I know there was some agencies that like were strictly, they were like, no, we're not doing that. The State Department, Department of Defense, FBI, they all advised their employees to not respond. They were like, no, dude, like we're not doing that. The Pentagon publicly stated that it would handle responses itself. And then there's others like the National Institutes of Health. It told employees, just go ahead and like hold on. Let's figure this out, and we will just kind of hold there, and we'll figure out what we need to do. So there was varying responses to this thing, and it's kind of like a big. All right, here's the deal. I think it's like a good thing. Obviously, all of our tax dollars are going towards funding these positions, if my understanding is correct on how things work. Like, they take money away from us to fund these positions within the government. Cool. So, the principle, I guess, behind that is good. Let's make sure that we're not wasting people's tax dollars on a guy who's not even able to fill out 5 bullet points. I think that's a good thing. I mean, some people don't, but I think it's a good thing. Why not? It's not that hard. Just tell people what you did. 5 things, man. And it's weird to me that I don't know that it's like such a crazy thing to ask a federal employee, hey, what are 5 things that you accomplished this week? Like, why is that difficult? If this was in a private sector job, like literally just like any office job in like a big corporation, like you've probably answered, like if you work in one of those positions, you have probably answered an email from HR or whoever. You've probably answered an email that is very, very similar, if not the exact same thing as that, right? In private sector jobs. So then why is it weird, or why is it outrageous to ask federal employees the same question? I don't get that. I mean, people don't bat an eye at private sector jobs, but then federal employees, it's like, whoa, no, they're off limits. We don't ask them that question. We're not concerned about what they're doing. It's this perfect little job over here where they just have awesome job security and, you know, benefits and this and that, and they're over there, and we just let them do their thing, and they're funded, and we just kind of ignore it, and we don't care about the waste. That's kind of how we've like operated, right? And I think it's cool that they're coming in here and like trying to clean up some of the waste. Now, there are going to be people that are going to fall in the cracks of that, right? And there's going to be people that are probably going to get let go from their government position. And, you know, that sucks, man. Nobody likes to get fired, right? Nobody likes to get fired, but it's just kind of part of business that, you know, when the bottom line and stuff is changing, and you see this again all the time in private sector jobs, when the bottom line's changing, okay, some positions have got to go. You know, this merger happened or this blah, 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 and we got to save the budget over here. It's like, hey, sorry, Jimmy dude, you got to go, you know? And I just actually heard a story from my brother earlier today at lunch of a local guy here in town that lost his job due to all of the Doge stuff. He's a federal employee, and Doge came in and said, that's it, you know? And I believe the guy was a veteran, and it has some disabilities and stuff like that. And that was kind of one of the only jobs he was able to get. And so now he's like not knowing what he's going to do. And that's what I mean by like people are going to fall in the cracks. Like, do I feel for that guy? Absolutely. Right? Like, that sucks for that guy. Nobody likes getting laid off for the most part. You know, again, there's some people that are going to be like, dude, I love being laid off, dude. Means I ain't got to do shit. I can wear my undies all day. Like, okay, yeah, cool, dude. But generally, most people are not happy to be laid off. But it does just happen. And so, like, I don't know, that does suck for that guy. It's close, it's local. But again, we're looking at sort of like big picture. You know, I don't know how I feel about this, actually. I mean, because we are looking big picture. We're trying to save money. Big picture is going after, you know, smaller local guys that probably aren't even really making that much salary-wise anyway. Like, is that how we need to save the money? Or can we look at some of these bigger contracts and stuff like that within the federal government? Maybe that's where we can solve some of it. And perhaps they just haven't made it to some of the bigger contracts. I mean, they've done a lot. They've got their hands on like everything now. So, I mean, they're making some waves, but I don't know. You just hate to hear about a guy who's, you know, I don't know, maybe he couldn't fill out his bullet points. I don't know the story, you know, of why he was unable to retain his position. But, you know, it does suck to hear that like a guy in that situation no longer has a position. Because it's probably going to be difficult to find another one. We historically have, for some reason, not taken very good care of veterans in this country. I've seen that. You know, we're always seeing stuff about like, dude, gotta help the veterans because they're constantly getting just shafted, which is ridiculous because, I mean, they go over and fight for us and serve for us and stuff like that. So why are they constantly shafted? But anyways, that's another thing. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. So what have you done this week? You know, what are your 5 things? One of my 5 things is doing this podcast, apparently, and rattling on. So let's rattle on to the next bit of news here. All right. I forgot I was going to do something different, a little bit different this week. Before we move on from the email thing, I have typed in Doge email on X, and I thought I'd just read through some of the posts here and just kind of, do like a little bit of a live, quote unquote, read through of some things. And, in case I miss anything, we'll just kind of comment on some stuff. So there is a fascinating one in here that I just saw. I mean, there's the typical stuff where it's like, people bash on people like, oh, you can't figure out how to write 5 things. Like, yeah, that's all in there, A lot of it's what we would say is, some right-wing people are kind of, bashing on some left, that kind of stuff. But I did find this post interesting. There's a guy that by the tag of at WLYSTER, looks like his name is Will Lister. He's basically saying that if you look past surface level of the Elon Doge email asking, hey, what are 5 things you did? He's saying, and I'll just read it here, this email request is a goldmine of passive intelligence for Doge if AI is applied correctly. The simplicity hides its power to map hierarchies, detect inefficiencies, and track alignment with organizational goals. So basically what he's saying is, and he has a long post here, but like what he's saying is like they can figure out like hierarchies within organizations. They can figure out, are your auto flagging things working? Are you do you have gaps in your security? All that kind of stuff can all be like sort of figured out off just asking this one simple email and like CCing in the directors and all that. You can, all of that being interconnected, they can analyze that with whatever it is they're analyzing stuff with, and it can find patterns, as we know the AI likes to do. And, it can help them to detect and expose issues and problems. And then it also just gives them a nice map of everything, which is scary, right? That's not going to ease the people's minds that are worried about Elon getting his fingers and everything. But, that is a really good point. I didn't think about that. So that's fascinating. This guy, Scott Adams, says, it's been a while since I was in a cubicle, but if I got the Doge email, I would have immediately sat down, banged out 5 bullet points that made me look amazing, and hit send. And then I would never think about it again. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, dude, it's just busy work, right? Like, hey, you're a federal employee, Not saying all federal employees have easy jobs. I don't really know if they do or not. But, if it's anything like positions in like that I've had before, or like, I mean, hell, even school, stuff like that, dude, it's busy work. Hey, what's 5 things you've done? All right, cool. I blah, 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 insert like, resume corpo talk here, and I'm good to go. And just send it. Like, again, now that's not good, right? That's sort of some of the like not quality work we're trying to eliminate, the sort of like easy, like checked out stuff we're trying to eliminate in there. So like, I don't know, maybe that's going to fast track you to getting fired, but that's what I do, man. Some of these people that were like stressing out about it, worrying about it, I'm like, dude, just make yourself sound good, man. I mean, just BS it. We've all BS'd like essays and stuff before, right? I don't know. Kids today may not BS it anymore. They might just have AI write their papers. Maybe kids don't know how to. I know now kids are not working federal jobs yet, but yeah. So federal employees, they know how to BS. They had to do that in school, right? Surely. Let's see what else we got here. Bunch of jokes. I mean, that's what I love about it is like the memes, man. This one's talking about U.S. postal workers' response. Being that I'm an extremely busy U.S. postal worker, I only had time to complete 4 tasks last week. 1, arrived at work on Monday, 2 hours because there were good songs on the radio and I didn't want to leave my car. 2, took an envelope from a customer to be sent via priority mail. 3, licked a stamp. 4, wrote this email. See, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know if that's real or if that's a joke, but like, I mean, yeah, spice that up a little bit. Did you get an answer? You get an answer, and then you don't have to worry about it, and like you kept your job. Like it's honestly not hard. It seems to me that in the interest of job security, just doing that, do that real quick. Don't worry about it. Don't fly off at the, dude, you're asking me to do what now? This is an insult to me. I quit. Like, I don't know, maybe that's what they want you to do, you know? I don't know. It's fine. Just write the email. I don't know, not a big deal. Not a big deal to me. Let's see what else we got here, if there is anything. I don't know, we've kind of talked about it, though. Yeah, I don't know. We've kind of talked about it. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on. What are we going to talk about now, man? What are we going to discuss? Now, let me get a little sip of coffee. I'll get a little sip of coffee. Energy's running a little bit low today. With the weather warming up in Texas, the house is staying a little uncomfortably warm because we're in that weird period. If anybody's in Texas, they'll get this. We're in that weird period where it's like it's starting to get like borderline kind of warm in the afternoon, 80s or something like that. That can heat your house up. But then the night it cools down, and the entire time we're kind of sort of hanging out in this realm where the house sort of stays the same temperature. It stays fairly comfortable. But then, like, at night when it like cools down, it's not enough to like cool the house quickly and make the AC come on because now it's cool outside. So then you're trying to go to bed and like your house is hot and the AC doesn't run. That's what I'm trying to say. It was really hot. I didn't sleep well last night, and so I'm running on fumes here. And this coffee. That's why I had the coffee. So we're going to move on to the Kathleen Kennedy news. For those that don't know who Kathleen Kennedy is, she was like the head of Star Wars, right? And she is now supposedly stepping down from that role sometime in 2025. I think they're saying like maybe Q2. She's president of Lucasfilm since 2012. And she may retire by the end of 2025. So, anyways, that's who Kathleen Kennedy is. And we've seen a lot of changes to the Star Wars universe since 2012. I mean, there's been some big changes. I mean, we had a whole, like, sequel trilogy come out in that time. And I'm not a fan of the sequel trilogy. It's not good. I don't know. The first one was like, it was nostalgia bait, right? It was for the older fans to be like, oh yeah, dude, I remember that. Oh yeah, this is awesome. But then like it got bad, right? And then The Mandalorian was cool for a little while. And I don't know, I haven't watched The Mandalorian in a while either. I don't know if it got boring or if I don't know. I have this conversation with myself a lot. I'm like, did I just not come back to it because I got busy, or was it because it was boring? Did it get boring and that's why I didn't come back? I think a lot of times with TV shows, it's simply because it takes too long for the next season to come out. I see that a lot now. I mean, look at Stranger Things, dude. The actors in Stranger Things are like 45 years old now. I'm exaggerating, but like it takes way too long, okay? And maybe the same thing happened with Mandalorian or something. Maybe that's why I just haven't stayed up with it, or maybe it just got boring. I thought it was cool. I thought the first 2 seasons were cool. I think that's what I've seen is the first 2 seasons. I thought they were neat, but I don't know. I just haven't been back. And to be honest, I haven't watched a lot of the other Star Wars projects and Star Wars shows and stuff like that. I have a list here of stuff that's been overseen by Kathleen Kennedy since she was in here. And like, okay, films, we have Star Wars The Force Awakens, I saw that. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I saw that. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I saw that. Solo, a Star Wars story. Saw that. Rogue One was pretty good, by the way. I'll go back and mention that before we move on. Rogue One was pretty good. I did enjoy that. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. We have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Not Star Wars, but a Lucasfilm project. I didn't see that one. And then we have TV series, The Clone Wars, Rebels. I've seen bits and pieces of those. Never saw Rebels all the way through. Don't think I made it all the way through Clone Wars either. Like I said, I'm not like a Star Wars fan, you know? I'm just like, Star Wars is cool, right? Like I've seen the movies, you know? Some of these people, like, they'll get like deep down in the lore on you, man. You mention Star Wars and they're like, well, actually, you know, the quintessential actually guys, like, actually, they showed that the lightsaber can do this back in, and I'm not trying to disparage these people, right? Like, that's cool. Be into it. Like, it's actually super cool that you've been able to keep up with the myriad of Star Wars stuff that's come out. Like, it's been insane. There's too much. I can't keep up, right? Like, the movies and like a little bit more is what I keep up with. Dude, the people that read all the comics, all the books, all the notes scrawled on the side of like margins and napkins and stuff like that, like, cool, man. It's good to have a hobby. But for me, no. Where was I? Anyways, yeah. So didn't see all the way through Clone Wars or Rebels. Never watched The Bad Batch. Heard it was decent. Some people that I follow on X have mentioned watching that, I think, back when it came out. Book of Boba Fett, I saw like the first season. Again, I thought it was, it was kind of cool. It tied into Mandalorian, though. And then so when you start getting these tie-ins, things start getting tricky. Because it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm watching along in here, and like now, we're tied in. Now we're crossing over, and it's like, am I caught up on the thing it's crossing over with? Like, they just assume you are, but what if you're not? Now you stop watching whatever it was you were watching because you're not caught up. And then, you're like, oh, I got to go watch this. And like, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe that's part of the reason I don't watch everything. It's because it's like too much work now to try and keep up with all of it. Fatigue is a thing. That's something that people deal with. Obi-Wan, I did see that. Obi-Wan I thought it was pretty neat to see Ewan McGregor come back as Obi-Wan. That was cool. Andor, I didn't see. Ahsoka, I didn't see. The Acolyte, I didn't see. And then we have upcoming and rumored the Skeleton Crew, the Ahsoka movie, and the Rey movie. They did just announce that Rey movie the other day, didn't they? Or rumor it? I don't know. So, it kind of hit or miss here on the Kathleen Kennedy stuff. I want to say, there was some good stuff in there. I think TV Star Wars has been way more hitting than movie Star Wars in the last decade. They had a chance to really, do something with some movies, and I think it just fell way too flat. I look back on my time watching the sequels, and dude, I can't remember which one it was. Dude, it might have been Last Jedi. I don't know. One of them, I distinctly remember walking out of the movie theater, and I've never had this happen with Star Wars before in my life growing up. But I remember walking for the first time seeing one of those sequel movies, and I walked out of the movie theater, and I was like, damn, dude, that kind of sucked, though, Like, it wasn't good. I just, and I'm like trying to justify in my mind. I'm like, oh, well, that was kind of cool that they did this story arc on a gambling planet. No, that was kind of neat. And then I was just like, it actually kind of sucked. I just really didn't like it. I didn't like it anywhere, actually. The movie was just not good. I don't know. They fell flat for me. So, not that okay. So like Kathleen Kennedy's gonna move on. I don't think that's gonna change anything. I mean, Star Wars is very much a Disney property now. It's Disney-y, Marvel-y. Like it's, I don't know. So it's gonna probably remain Disney-y and Marvel-y. As far as like who they're gonna follow up with, who Kathleen Kennedy's successor is, I should say. It's all just like rumor mill stuff right now. They're throwing around like Dave Filoni. Apparently he's currently the chief creative officer. There's also been some other names though. Michelle Rejwan. I don't know if I said her name right. My bad if I didn't. She serves as the senior vice president of live action development and production at Lucasfilm, as noted on IMDb. Her work includes co-producing Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. So she's another option. And then there's also like Jon Favreau, but like he's more of like a creative, I think, more than maybe like a president of all of it. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he'd be fine. I don't know who the successor is. But like, the main point of the story here is I don't think really anything's going to change because I just feel like it's just in the Disney formula now, Star Wars. It doesn't matter who the head is. It's just going to be what it is. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. So anyways, let's jump over to the Explore page here. And let's take a look at what people are saying about this. Let me type it in real quick. Oh my gosh, I can't type. Here's a How to Destroy Star Wars starter pack. So they definitely have a very strong opinion about Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars. So, like, here's the deal with Kathleen, and this is what I'm seeing, like, a lot of people are talking about. And it does really go back to the South Park bit, where Cartman is Kathleen Kennedy, and he's essentially making fun of the fact that they always put a gay chick in everything now. So that seems to be what I'm seeing a lot of on here. This is what people's biggest hang-up with Kathleen Kennedy's tenure as president. So that's kind of the biggest commentary, and okay, that's kind of the culture now, right? We're getting rid of the woke, so to speak. So perhaps this is like perfect timing for her to step down, as that seems to be kind of the narrative on where we're headed now. That South Park bit is kind of funny, though. If you've not seen it, go look it up. But, have a little chuckle. Because, I mean, I can see where it's coming from. I can see where it's coming from. There's Elon Musk talking about it April 1st of the last year. Somebody said 20 years later, somehow Kathleen Kennedy returned. In quotes. Well, because they've said that, from what I've been reading, they've said she's going to retire like a bunch. And like she just hasn't done it. And now she's just still here. Okay, so this guy put up the, the meme where the guy's like standing up defiantly in the crowd. The guy in the little blue plaid shirt. This person's got that and said, you should be able to say Kathleen Kennedy did a bad job without being connected to the worst people on the internet. And so I feel like that's a trap a lot of people are going to fall into too, right? Like that person's like not against her putting sort of like shoving like lesbian characters into shows. Like they're not against that apparently. But they do also still just think Kathleen Kennedy did a bad job, which is, yeah, that's fine. I mean, they don't have to be, one doesn't depend on the other. It doesn't have to be, like, required that you believe both things. This person says, fire Kathleen Kennedy and decanonize everything she's done. Well, they're not going to do that. Let's not be silly. Okay, well, we're getting into some really old news from where I'm scrolling here. So, I mean, I guess that's that. I mean, it's, is that really the top post, man? It was like a little bit, there was a couple that I wanted to mention on there that I can't find anymore. I should have bookmarked them when I was looking before the show. But, oh, here is one I bookmarked. One guy says, his name is John. He says, too late. One of the worst shepherds of a valuable IP ever. Her legacy is driving an F-15 into the ground. The Disney Star Wars era has been a miserable failure. Even the extremely online fanboy bloggers can't deny this anymore. So, Ryan here says, there's going to be a lot of disappointed and confused people when they realize their problems with Star Wars aren't magically fixed after Kathleen Kennedy retires. So yeah, you see kind of like both sides of the coin there, right? Like this one guy, John, he's like, oh man, dude, she ran the jet into the ground, which, okay, chill with the F-15s into the ground business, because we've been having some planes go into the ground, okay? So let's maybe not use that comparison, but he believes that, and then Ryan over here is like, hey dude, like it's not really Kathleen Kennedy's fault. There's other problems with Star Wars, and her leaving is not really going to fix anything, which is kind of what I was saying. I don't think it's really going to fix anything. There's other problems. So that's the Kathleen Kennedy news. What else we got here? Dude, Hooters filed for bankruptcy. How much time we got? Where are we at? We're at 35 minutes. That's all right. I think we're doing okay. Hooters files for bankruptcy. It's our next order of business here. So, I mean, it's Hooters, right? Come on, man. It's Hooters. I thought we loved Hooters. Why is Hooters going out? What's going on, man? I don't know what's going on there. So just because they file for bankruptcy doesn't mean they're like gone, right? Like that's not the end, but it does mean that they're in a little bit of a bind, right? So I'm not really sure. I think I read that they're in like, dude, it was like big, 30 million in debt. Is that right? No, that seems big, right? That's way too big. What did I read? Let me look at. Oh shit! It's even worse than I thought. 300 million in debt. Okay. I had it sort of right. I just needed to add a zero. 300 million in debt as a Hooters. Yeah. So they have that going on, and then apparently declining foot traffic. People are not going to Hooters anymore. So I don't know what that's about. Hooters is like a big brand, right? Hooters is like one of those. It's like a staple institution, man. It's Hooters, you know? We got spinoff restaurants of Hooters. Twin Peaks. I wonder which one came first. Twin Peaks or Hooters, actually. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Hooters was founded in 1983. Twin Peaks opened in 2005. So yeah, we have spinoff restaurants of Hooters. It's an institution, man. And people just aren't going anymore. And there's been a lot of discussion as to why. But that's the biggest reason that they're filing for bankruptcy. Which they're probably not going to go away, right? Like fully. But they're going to close some stores, I'm pretty sure. If they haven't already. I bet they're going to be closing several of them, but I just seen a lot of people talking about Hooters this past week with this. You know, people are sad. Dude, people like Hooters. I think people miss what Hooters used to be because times are different now. It's not how it used to be. You know, used to it's like I don't know how to talk about this topic really, but we're just gonna send it. But used to, if you want to look at some boobs, it's like, all right, cool. We got to go to a strip club. We got to go to Hooters, or look at the back of a magazine. That's like the old days. We're talking about, what did I just say? 1983, okay, the internet was not quite as ubiquitous as it is now. Now you can just dang old www.com, whatever you want, and, easy to get to. Back in the day, it's like, you know what? Kind of hungry. Let's pop on over to Hooters, so we can have some wings and eye candy, I guess, if you want to put it that way. But now people are just I I don't know, apparently not going to Hooters. I can't say anything. I haven't been to a Hooters in 12, 13. Yeah, 12 or 13 years probably would be the last time I went to Hooters. I remember the last time I went in. I went with a friend of mine. We were going, and I think it was his cousin's birthday or something. We were having a little get together at Hooters. Had some beer and wings, and did the Hooters thing. But I guess that's a relic of the past, really. Look, I'm 32, okay, but apparently, from what I've been reading, kids these days they don't want to look at boobs. I don't know, like. They're into different stuff. I saw a lot of discussion this week on the Hooters thing about like, oh, we're not really into that anymore, and like, okay, and it's not even that they're not into women, but the jokes were that they needed to do like, what was it? Something like, I'll have to like see if I can find it, but they wanted it to be like a goth mommy bar or something, like something weird like that. It's like they don't want it to be like, I'm actually afraid to search this on here, but apparently there was also like Hooters was like employing some trans individuals. Some people are bashing on that as the reason. I don't think that's related. Whatever. They want to do that, that's fine. But some people on here are acting like, oh, that was every single Hooters, and that's not the case. But I was trying to find the one. Here's one by, this kind of ties into what I was talking about a second ago. Bumbadum says Hooters is going out of business because girls wear this to the grocery store. And it's like women in like, basically like the tightest shorts you can imagine and like a sports bra. And so it's like, I mean, yeah, some women do. Now it depends on where you're at. Like I don't see that a lot here in my town, but I would imagine like if you lived in like LA, you would probably see something like that all the time. And it's like, yeah, there's no reason to go to Hooters because you can just go out, and that's like what I was saying. It's so much easier to like, there's just not any fun in it anymore because you just see it everywhere. It's like forced on us in TV, and it's on the internet all over the place, and it's just become like just sort of easier to see kind of what Hooters thing was, and I don't know. There's been a lot of changes since 1983 when they came around. Y'all know the account Greg, right, with all the numbers? He says, I'm truly devastated by the news of Hooters going bankrupt. They had the best chicken wings and the nicest people worked there. Part of me feels like I am at fault because I didn't go there enough to support them. And that's kind of what I'm saying, too. Like, I hadn't been to Hooters in 12 years, like I said. I could probably, I actually can tell you on one hand the amount of times I ever went to Hooters. I mean, so, like, I'm not devastated by the news, right? It's just, Hooters is Hooters. Like, everybody knows Hooters. It's like, oh yeah. It's always they're the bottom of the joke with your dad flirting with the waitress, or make sure that your husband's not flirting with the waitress, your boyfriend, all that. It's Hooters. American institution. I don't know, man. Kind of weird though. They'll still be around though. I'm sure they'll still be around. I didn't see. I was scrolling through here kind of while I was talking. Sorry there, and I didn't see a lot of funny tweets really. Here's a guy talking about Hooters from 15 minutes ago. He says some of y'all never been to Hooters and it shows. I don't know. I wonder if I bookmarked anything. Again, I'm gonna get a little bit better with making sure I get this kind of a little more streamlined with what I want to talk about and all that. I've been a little scatterbrained this week. There's one from an account called Papa Mead. He says, this is my 9/11. When the news broke the other day, Hooters is reportedly making plans to file for bankruptcy. That Culture Crave tweet is the first one I saw. He said, this is my 9/11. So he's a big Hooters fan there. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see what happens there. Hooters will still be around though. It'll be fine. If not, I guess Twin Peaks is still a thing. Not here, but it'll still be a thing. All right, so we'll look at wrapping some stuff up this week with a little bit of sports news. I really only watch football, so if I do talk sports, I expect it to really just be NFL. Because like in other news, like in baseball, one of the teams, see, I don't even remember which team now. Like I don't follow baseball, but they let you have a beard now. You don't have to shave. Apparently, a long time rule of 50 years, can't have a beard. They're finally changing it. But yeah, I don't follow baseball. So let's talk about football in the NFL. Apparently, they are going to use a system called the Hawkeye Virtual Measurement System in 2025. And that's going to help them spot the ball. And the chain gang's going to stick around as a backup. They'll be on the sidelines as backup, but they're going to use this Hawkeye Virtual Measurement System for the line to gain. So we're going to check that out. That, of course, comes after the controversial call against Josh Allen this past season, where it's like, did he get the first down? Did he not? Now, I'm in the camp. I really thought he did, to be honest. That was a huge play, and I thought it looked like he made it, but they ruled he didn't. So it is what it is now, but maybe with Hawkeye Virtual Measurement, we'll be able to get a better idea of that. I kind of have my doubts because this is they're saying it's I'm reading a Fox Sports article right now, and they're saying it's not the same as a chip, which seems to me like a chip is the way to go. We have other sports that have got the chips in them, and seems to work pretty well. I don't understand why the NFL can't do the chip. Because we've had this thing where there's like, and I read about it a while ago, there's been this thing where it's like, oh, well, we got, what is it, 6 or 8 4K cameras all around the stadium. Certain stadiums, not all stadiums, just certain stadiums have got these 4K cameras, and they're supposed to be able to like virtually tell you where the ball is at all times with different camera angles being, laced together and I'm like, put a chip in the ball, man. Chip the ball, dude. But no, it seems Hawkeye Virtual Measurement doesn't sound like a chip in the ball to me. So I'm just a little bit concerned that it's still not really going to work that well. And I don't know, man. And this also says the league is considering expanded replay assist. So we'll have a little bit of shakeup next year to look forward to, but I don't know. I don't know what to think about that, man. Like, just put a chip in the ball. I don't know what else to say. But I really did think Josh Allen made it. I will say that. That was tough, man. I feel for Josh Allen. He always gets so close, and then just something stupid happens and can't quite make it to the Super Bowl, man. It's tough. But yeah, anyways, I guess dude, I think we're going to wrap this week up. I have some other random little stuff in here we can talk about if need be. But I think that kind of about does it, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this one a little bit better. It's about as scrambly as the last one. I really need to do a little bit better job planning it out. I enjoyed doing these. I just need to get a little bit more prepared. I do like the off-the-cuff style. I've been saying that ever since I've been streaming and doing YouTube videos and stuff, that I like the off-the-cuff style. But talking about these current events and things, that gives me something to talk about every week. And I don't have to, there's content creators out there. I come from the gaming sphere, and there's some of these guys, they're out here pumping out videos weekly or every day on just nothing. And I got to commend them, as I don't know how to do that. And I couldn't do that. So instead I'm going to ramble about Hooters and Star Wars, okay? While I drink coffee at 3:00 in the afternoon. Yeah. So this has been episode 2 of Rattlin On. We'll do this for a little while, and we'll see how this goes. If you guys want to follow me on X, it's at Hot Sauce Z right now. That's my Twitch name. And we'll be getting these. I mean, this will be on YouTube and on podcasting, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that. But be sure to pop over to X, give me a follow. I'm going to kind of work on broadening that out, I think, and we'll include this podcast and the gaming stuff still, but this gives me a way to be a little bit more chatty, a little bit more present with content creation, and we can kind of go from there. So appreciate you guys listening. I do think I am actually going to attempt to get a stream in this afternoon too. We'll be playing some Battlefield for that. Perhaps Battlefield 1. I've been kind of enjoying that. We'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. But thank you for listening to this episode 2 of Rattlin' On. I look forward to seeing you on episode 3 next week. I'll bundle up some more of the current news. We should have some good news. Or I shouldn't say good news, but we should have some big news coming next week. If they actually release these Epstein deals, right? That's kind of a big deal. I didn't put it in this episode because it's like they haven't actually been released, right? But that's gonna cause a stir. I know that's gonna cause a stir. So, I mean, I don't know anything about all that, but I'll rattle about it next week. Yeah, my mouth's getting dry. Can't talk anymore. Go follow me on the socials, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your week and weekend, and we'll see you next time.